Hi, I'm Barry and welcome to Power Equipment Discounters. We get a lot of questions both online and in our stores regarding the spooling of trimmer heads. There's a lot of people out there that get confused when it comes to spooling a trimmer head and exactly how to do it. So what I'm going to do today is take you through 3 different types of trimmer heads. There's a lot of different types out there, but these 3 are fairly common and fairly popular, and we'll take you through them and show you how to re-spool them, and I'll give you some helpful tips along the way for yours. You're always welcome to give us a call or to visit one of our stores and we can help you spool your trimmer head for free if you wish to do so. So starting off today, we're going to be focusing first on a Husqvarna head. It's a bump feed head, then a speed spool head, which is on Shindaiwa and on Rover and some of Troy-Bilts and some of the other brands out there, and then your traditional bump feed head, which is available on most Homelight, Ryobi and some of your cheaper brand trimmers. So we'll go from there. Let's start today with the cheaper trimmer. We'll start with that head first. But before we do that, I'm going to show you how to determine which way to wind your line. And the easiest way to do that is to actually look at your trimmer first. So I have in front of me today a trimmer head that we've got on a guard. The first thing you want to establish before spooling your line is which way the head actually spins on your brush cutter. Now, they don't all spin the same way. Some bent shafts spin different directions and some straight shaft trimmers spin different directions. So the easiest way to determine this, if you have the guard still on your trimmer, is without starting the trimmer, you can see where the blade is. So on this one over here, there's a cutting blade underneath the guard. And on this one, we know that the blade is sharp on this end. This end is obviously no blade, it's blunt. So this trimmer head rotates that way, or counterclockwise as you're looking at it from your side. So we know which way the trimmer head's spinning. If you don't have a guard on your machine, the easiest way is simply start your trimmer and which way the head spins. Does it spin it clockwise or anti-clockwise? The reason you want to know this is that you always spool the line in the opposite direction to the way the head is spinning. So in this case, if the head is spinning anti-clockwise, when you spool the line, you spool it on clockwise. That stops the trimmer from sucking the cord in. So we've all had that experience when we tap our trimmer on the ground or we go to start it, it sucks the cord into the head. The reason for that is you've wound it on the wrong way. So always make sure you wind the cord on opposite to the way the head is spinning, and that goes for every single trimmer head out there. Okay, so let's look at the cheap trimmer head first. Most of the cheap heads open by simply pushing 2 tabs on either side of the trimmer head. So you just push those tabs in and the cover pops off. On the cheap trimmer heads, the first thing that we have a problem with is the spring. It's a good idea not to do this in long grass or over thick grass because not all the springs are this big. Some of them are pretty small, and the minute you pop that cover off on the 2 tabs, the spring flies away and you can't find it, and you end up having to come to one of our stores to buy a new one. So what I always say to people is when you're spooling your head, try to do it on your driveway, your patio, your deck, somewhere where you don't have a lot of grass, that if you do lose the spring, it'll be a lot easier to find than in the grass itself. Okay, so on this one over here, we'll just take the cord off quickly. So typically what you normally see is an empty spool like that. Sometimes what you'll find is you actually have some cord on the head of your machine, and that normally happens because of the line you're purchasing. So I could do a whole video online, but what I will tell you today is the line that is sold in Bunnings and your cheap hardware stores is not good quality line. It's not 100% nylon. It's line that is recycled, and often large chunks of it are breaking off. So if you're using your trimmer and big pieces of line are lying all over your yard because they're breaking off when you hit a retaining wall or a fence or even a concrete path, then it's time to upgrade your line. I would recommend buying a line that's 100% nylon, just to name a few brands that carry that. Normally Still, Husqvarna, Trailblazer, Diamond Edge, Jack Max line. This is all line that's 100% nylon and good quality. So get down to your local mower shop or look on Power Equipment Discounters and you'll see the line we sell is all really good line. As an aside, most of the trimmers that you purchase in hardware stores come with really poor quality line, so it doesn't last very long. Okay, so assuming you've got some good line at home and assuming there's none on your trimmer head, what you need to do is get roughly a full arm length. Now I know my arms are probably outside the camera, but you're looking at approximately 2 meters. That's a good standard guide for line of what to get when you first get it. And one piece is all you need. You'll hear some people say that you need to have 2 separate pieces and spool them in opposite directions. That's all untrue. Basically, one piece of line is a good place to start. Now on this trimmer head, you've got a divider in the middle of the spool. That is not the case on all trimmer heads. Some trimmer heads have got no divider, so there's just a spool with nothing in between. I don't like those trimmer heads, and I would recommend you replace them, because if there's no divider, you can't run the 2 separate pieces of line on either side. They get hot, they get welded together, and then they don't feed out properly. So try, if you're having a problem with your trimmer head not spooling, try to go and purchase one that's got a divider in the middle. That's going to solve 90% of those problems. The other 10%, buy yourself some good cord that is 100% nylon and they don't weld under heat. So much better way to go. Okay, so as you can see, this head over here, there's no instructions on whether to wind the line clockwise or anti-clockwise. So what I would be doing is checking on my trimmer head, as I said before, which way your head is spinning, and we'll wind it the other way. We're going to assume that this is a bend shaft machine and the head is spinning anti-clockwise. So that means we're going to wind the line on clockwise. So if you have a look into the head, you'll see there's a little slot in the middle divider. So what you do is you get your line into the halfway point. So that's basically an arm length. Very easy to do. You put that into the middle over here. And then, as I said, we're going to wind this on clockwise, so I'll just do it from your side. So we're winding it on clockwise. And it's important to note that the line can't cross over because you've got that divider in the middle. So we just wind it on. Now, you don't have to wind it on very tightly, just firmly, okay? You don't have to wind it on so that it's not. When you get to the end, all that you're doing is clipping it into the holders over there, one there and one on the other side. You'll find those on most trimmer heads. If your line doesn't fit in those holders, it's too thick. So what I would recommend, this is my recommendations. If you want to take a note of this, this is important. For curved shaft trimmers or ones with a bent shaft in it, you shouldn't be running more than 2.4 mil. So 2 mil or 2.4 mil. For those of you that have straight shaft brush cutters or straight shaft trimmers, anything from 2.4 to 3.3. 3.3, you'd need a 40 cc and above. If most trimmers run straight shaft around about the 27 or 30 cc, I wouldn't be running thicker than 3 mil. It's a big myth out there that the thicker the cord, the longer it lasts. That's not true. If it's 100% nylon, you can go with that slightly thinner cord. A thinner cord is better, it cuts better, it gives you better head speed, less wear and tear on your clutch, less wear and tear on your gearbox. So don't always buy the thickest line assuming it's going to last the longest, because that's not true either. Okay, so once you've got your head re-spooled on this model over here, we're just putting the spring back. It is annoying, but make sure you get that spring back nice and easy. And then this one's got 2 round eyelets. All that you do is feed the cord into the eyelets. You have to be a little bit dexterous to do this, but you get it done. Once you've got the cord in the eyelets, we can pop that back in there. Now it's super duper important that you give the cord a good tug, because you want to take it out of that holder. You don't want to leave the cord in the actual holder. So you give it a good tug out now that it's in the eyelets, and that'll release the cord from the holder, and then we simply clip the cover back on. So this is about as tough as it's going to get on this head, on a cheap head. But yeah, that's how to spool a really cheap bump feed head. Okay, moving on, let's do the speed feed head. Okay, this head is very popular and a lot of guys are fitting it as an aftermarket. Speed feed is a great design. It's run on Shindao and Echo Japanese built trimmers, but they can fit any trimmer that you want. I love the speed feed head. It's probably one of the easiest trimmer heads you'll ever get to spool. The great thing about a speed feed head, and I'm just going to pop some line out to show you, is you don't need to pull the speed feed head apart. Now that's a common thing with people that get them, they pull them apart. You don't need to. So this will sit on your trimmer. And all that you do, if the camera can hopefully see that, you've got 2 arrows on the back plate over there. We might need to just zoom in, I'll show you. So we've got 2 arrows, one on this side, on the top over here, and one on the other side. Okay, so what you want to do is, while that's on your trimmer, you want to rotate the head so that the arrows line up with your eyelets. The eyelets are the little holes in the head. We call them eyelets. That's what they are over there. Okay, so once you've got those arrows lined up, all that we're going to do is put the one piece of cord through the eyelet, and you've just got to feel for that center bridge. Give it a good push through and it will come out the other side like that, and then you pull it all the way through. Now I've got quite a lot of cord on this head because it's a large head, so I'm actually spooling this one 4 meters. So we go a bit more through the center. So once you've got it through the center, it'll look like that on your trimmer, and then all it is very simply you just wind it on. So this is one of those great heads, you're never pulling it apart. All that you do is you just wind it and wind it and wind it, and it'll suck the cord in, which I really, really like. So remember, you don't have to do this off your trimmer, you can do it on the trimmer. You're just turning the head. It was just hard to get the whole trimmer in the video, so we took the head off. Okay, now this is a bump feed head, so it's a very good bump feed head. So once you've spooled it all the way, typically what you'll end up with is, this is normal, you end up with a slightly longer piece of cord on the one side and a shorter on the other. All that you do is cut that to length. Very simple. So you can spool this head in about 10 to 15 seconds, and you can do it without turning your trimmer off, and you can do it while you're on the go. So for those of you that don't like the traditional bump feed head, strongly recommend you go with a speed feed head. Like I said, they sell them for most trimmers out there, bent shaft and straight shaft. They retail for about $45, so they are on the slightly more expensive side, but well worth the investment. Okay, last off, we're just going to show you today the Husqvarna head. It is a traditional bump feed head, but it's very simple. We have put a YouTube video up on how to spool it. I'll just run you guys through it quickly again. Like most bump feed heads, 2 tabs on the side. You just pop those tabs open. That reveals the head. The thing I like about a good quality bump feed head is you'll notice the spring doesn't fly out of it. So this is on your trimmer. It's all kept together. The thing which is unique about this Husqvarna head is it's got a bearing in the bump feed as well. So it's really, really good to bump, and the bearing makes sure that the head doesn't, the bump knob doesn't wear out very easily. And also you can buy all the spare parts for this head, so you can get everything. So you're not replacing a whole head when your bump knob wears out, which is another great feature. Okay, so re-spooling that, Husqvarna's got a very big spool in this model. So this is found on the bigger Husqvarna brush cutters. I'll show you with this small line, doesn't really do it justice, because on this head you can fit 4 to 5 meters. It's nice. Once again, you just take your line, one piece of line, and we're going to spool it on. Now, some of the Husqvarna heads are pretty much foolproof, so you can only spool them the one way. They also have a big symbol over here. Now, I know this is a white spool, but it tells you which way to wind the cord. It says wind cord with an arrow. So you really can't get this wrong. Just for those of you out there with bump feed heads, this is something you should always look for. It's normally on the back of your spool. It tells you which way to wind the cord. As I said before in the beginning, if you don't know which way to wind your cord, start your trimmer, see which way the head's spinning, and wind it the opposite way. Okay, so the reason why this is foolproof is because if you have a look here and we go to put the cord on, if it's not actually located the right way, you're trying to wind it on the wrong way, it won't let you. So all that we do here is you put it on there, and you can see the cord is gripping, and it's got that divider in the middle, so you just wind one piece of cord around it, very easy. Now, this is just a demonstration. You can carry a lot more cord than this, obviously. Like before, it's got the little holders, so you got those little holders over there. Just hold the cord when you finish winding it on. Take the top cover, which will be loose, put it in, and then the great thing about Husqvarna is their eyelets aren't round. So for those of us that struggle to put the cord in the rounder holes, we've just got the loops. You just put it down and down into the loop like that. It's what we call a U-shaped eyelet, very easy to use. And then we just clip the cover back on to the main head attached to our brush cutter, like so. Very simple. Okay, so those are 3 different head types I've showed you today on how to spool them, giving you some helpful tips. Hopefully you find this video useful. If you have a brush cutter head which you're not sure about, which you haven't seen on the video today, or which you want to know how to spool, send us an email or contact us on the phone number on our website, powerequipmentdiscounters.com.au, and we can get that head in, and we can show you how to spool it and hopefully put it on YouTube for other people to take advantage of, and hopefully it'll help them as well. So thank you for watching, and don't forget once again to click subscribe on any of our videos to keep up to date. Thanks very much.